Hi guys, welcome to this week's The Players Only Club, and this is the week that was, with myself Pete and
Johnny,
as always, the ever dependable pair.
For your football knowledge.
Let's kick us all off. Champions League roundup of yesterday's games, which were the Tuesday games.
We'll look at the English teams, Chelsea and Arsenal in action. Let's start with Arsenal, and let's get your thoughts on that straight away.
I will try to be calm. Great game plan, and as has been quite a bit over the weekend, been effective in front of goal. I think that's as calm as I can be about it. I mean, I could rant and rave, but it is one game as well. At the end of the day, we could easily go to the Allianz Arena and get battered 5-0.
Well, do you think you will? Do you think you'll beat them when you're away?
If we turn up and if we can play exactly the same game plan and play it to the same level, we've got every chance of nicking a win. However, I think it is always a different proposition because in your home ground, you've got your fans behind you, so you've got that extra will to get to that man, get across, But I mean, I don't know if they're going to have any different players back from injury. Gertz and the like. I don't think they played badly. I think we defended well, and Czech had a great game as well. Yeah.
No, I tend to agree. I think the ironic thing is that Wenger's criticised for playing the same way too often, and for once he didn't play the same way. He played a different tactic and it worked. But Guardiola always plays the same way, so you can rely on Guardiola to play the same way. And there's no reason why Arsenal can't go and do the same thing again. The only difference being that maybe Munich took it didn't quite understand how big an occasion it was for Arsenal, and this time they'll be a bit more we're not going to let that happen. And maybe they do have the players who might just change the
slightly different
change the game.
Can always make it a little bit different.
A bit of quality.
Different set piece. They didn't really have. They had corners, but they didn't really have any set pieces around the box. One towards the end, a terrible ball by Alcantara.
Yeah.
Douglas Costa, shining light for them. First time I've really seen him play. I was at the game last night. First time I've really seen him play, and I thought, you've been talking him up, but I thought it was terrible in pre-season.
Yeah.
But he looks different class.
I have to say, him coming in, I didn't think he was going to be very good, and he's unbelievable. Yeah. And I have to credit to Guardiola. If he picked that out, whoever picked him out basically said, listen, this guy's top notch. He saw something because he's really, yeah.
However, if that also proves that someone like Bellerin and Monreal, who I thought Monreal didn't get as much praise as Bellerin did, because obviously Bellerin was big in the last 20 minutes and especially for the second goal. But those two are going to have to play. They played at the highest level. Coquelin and Cazorla were in the middle of the park and did well, but they proved that against City last season. But if Monreal and Bellerin are going to have to be as good, if not better, to withstand that, otherwise Munich will get in behind us. They've got two players either side, Müller and Costa, that can hurt us. Yeah. And obviously the big guy in the middle.
Lewandowski.
Blunted for once.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and just briefly, your two strikers, Walcott and Giroud, bringing the best out of each other, both playing fantastically well at the moment.
Giroud can't stop scoring from the bench.
No, and it's almost a bad thing for him, because it's Walcott's playing really well when he's starting, and Giroud's coming on and scoring. So it's why would you change that system up? To be honest, that would be the only worry for Giroud, really.
Yeah. Moving on, Chelsea. I've only seen extended highlights. You look like the better team, but without a goal at the end of it. Yeah,
I think we deserved a penalty, but that was about it. We should still be beating the team comfortably. Chicken Kiev.
Been over to Zagreb and suffered an equal fate.
Chelsea, it's worrying at the moment. Mourinho's just angry at everything. He's having a go at Wenger. There's no reason to be having a go at Wenger at this point. It's just completely pointless. He's just trying to keep all the attention on him for whatever reason, but he actually looks genuinely upset, in my opinion. And it was just another lacklustre performance. We don't have that much sort of cutthroat about us at all at the moment.
Still have that set piece danger with Willian.
But we still got Willian, who, best player. Didn't start the season. Once Petra got in anyway.
Is that what you've got?
That's all I've got to say on Chelsea. I don't want to go into it too much because it's only going to make me mad.
Okay, we'll move on to someone else that is mad. Yaya Toure.
Nice. Yaya Toure, he's been moaning again. Said that he's underappreciated by the English media. But does he have a point?
Yes and no. I think yes, because obviously the way that the English media goes, you know, you're the hero one week, if you score a hat-trick, you're a villain the next week if you don't have a very good game. That's the way the English press goes. He's been here long enough to understand that. From my point of view, if you're Yaya Toure and you don't like what the press is saying, don't read it. At the end of the day, it's just some well-educated people's opinions that just so happen to be the ones responsible for putting on the back pages of our national newspapers. He's bigger than that. Like, he gets paid a lot of money.
Yeah, he does get paid a lot of money.
Like, he gets paid a lot of money. Surely that should be enough for him to say, well, why should I really have to care? You know, the boss picks me every week for a reason. You know, I'm African Player of the Year
5 times in a row.
For forever.
Yeah.
I'm always in the top 23 for the Ballon d'Or. You know, he really has nothing else to prove, and he definitely doesn't have the press to prove it to.
No, I think right now he's got nothing to be moaning about because he's playing okay. He's injured. I don't know if he's still injured, but
He was back at the
he started the season well, then he dropped off. He had an okay season last season. The season before, he had a fantastic season.
I think that's almost his Achilles heel.
You don't think he made it into the World 11, but he won the league. He was the best player for them. He scored 20 goals from midfield. Fairly staggering, to be fair. And I think that's where it sort of all has been bought from. And you can sympathise a little bit because after all, he's human. And if you see loads of other people getting loads of credit for stuff that you think you're doing as well and you're not quite getting the credit, then that can be quite hard. But yeah, why is he bringing it up now? What's the point? What's it kind of help is it going to do him?
If he plays centre forward and scored a couple of goals, he'd be getting praise. You look at the back pages and it's covered in Sanchez, Aguero, Hazard.
Yeah, it's all about goals.
It's your centre forwards, your strikers, your main goal threats, but they're also the villains as well. You know, Aguero doesn't score, gets injured. You know, he's out for it. Blah blah blah. So you know, I really think he needs to worry less about birthday cakes in the press.
Yeah.
And worry more about just doing what he's doing.
Just keep playing. Fairly simple.
Okay, now we're trying to summarise this one into put it up already. Mourinho. You're a Chelsea fan. From my point of view, I think he's been slowly going off the rails for a long time. The new bust up is apparently with Hazard.
Yeah.
Should you be picking on your best player?
Well, let's firstly say supposedly reports are saying that Hazard has told his teammates he wants to leave.
Yeah, and
that's
been posted on Instagram as well.
Well, that's quite a funny one. Like in the old, was it Real Madrid post, wasn't it?
No, it was the press cutting of him wanting to go to Real Madrid.
Oh right, yeah, and it's kind of understandable, to be honest. Like, Hazard was our best player last season.
Yeah.
And Mourinho, I think, mentioned something. Now he's saying it was taken out of context, but he said, I'd rather have Hazard than Ronaldo. And now he's saying that Hazard doesn't play for his teammates.
He said Hazard was the best player in the world.
And he's just, I don't know, I really can't understand. You know, Hazard plays with freedom. That's the whole point of Hazard. That's what he does. And if you don't want him in your team, then fair enough. But like, he'll go into a top team because he's good enough to play with freedom.
Any team in the league, any team in the top 5 leagues probably.
Yeah.
He's that good.
And any good manager will realise that to get the best out of him, like Messi, like Ronaldo, you let them do what they want because it works that way. Yeah. That's what Ferguson had with Cantona. Cantona was this player that basically he allowed to do whatever he wanted because it meant that they did better with him in the team.
Cantona pretty much did what he wanted anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But
do you think this is the Mourinho's? I mean, Mourinho's been steadily pulling in some crazy since the start of this season. I mean, shots at Wenger aside, do you think that this is Mourinho's worst bit of mismanagement yet this season? If all the reports are true, and obviously him saying that Hazard won't go back in the starting lineup until he starts defending and committing for the team.
Yeah, I think it is up there. I think it's on par with the fact that Fabregas still starts every single game, and I think it's on par with the fact that Ivanovic, if he wasn't fit, would start. If he was fit, would be starting every game. I mean, those two things still absolutely baffle me, and the fact that he's now, maybe it is worse that he's now just shifting that blame to Hazard, who hasn't been at his best probably, but I think Fabregas has got a lot to do with that. By the way, I think Costa's got a lot to do with that as well.
1 goal and no assists in the league or something, Hazard.
Really?
Yeah.
And the goal wasn't that against Arsenal, in which I don't even think it was a goal. It was it took a deflection and went in.
Yeah.
So, but he hasn't been playing particularly well. Fair enough. But I don't think he's been our problem. I think Costa's been a much bigger problem. I think Fabregas has been a much bigger problem. And I think Mourinho is just creating problems for himself at this point. And he doesn't seem to be caring about he's too stubborn to just listen to what people are saying, basically. And it's going to put a dent on his record, and he doesn't seem to care at this point.
Yeah,
or it already has.
Basically, you don't see the other top managers vilifying their best player.
No.
Learn something from Mourinho. Okay, finally, Ballon d'Or, the 23-man shortlist.
Everybody wants to know the top 23.
They've whittled out Christian Atsu and David Ospina. Poor David Ospina didn't make it to the final 23. I'm as shocked as you all are.
Thought he was going to win it this year. Really did. Great goal against Arsenal. So,
is it going to go any different this year?
So I think the exciting thing about Ballon d'Or is who's going to get number 3, basically, isn't it? Like that's the real, the second Ballon d'Or.
Who's going to be the also round?
Yeah.
I can't wait for those two to retire.
But
genuine fight.
I mean, because Ronaldo and Messi do deserve to be there. I think some people say that they kind of don't, and they get there on merit from, they are the best players in the world. But actually, I think what makes them the best players in the world is they are the best players in the world every year. That's why they're such phenomenons. It's unbelievable. But for me, number 3 has to be Suarez.
I completely
has to be Suarez. Now I've heard a lot of people say Neymar, and the argument. Well, the argument for Neymar is that right now, someone's got to take over the mantle for Messi while he's injured, and Neymar seems to be the one who's doing it.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's Suarez.
Well,
Suarez is the one that's scoring the important goals. Neymar scored 4 against nobody at the weekend.
That's true, exactly.
It happens, but
and a lot of people saying, Champions League final, Neymar got the goal against Bayern Munich. Neymar's got the goal, but Champions League final, Neymar scored with the last kick of the game after Juventus had given it everything they had got to get back into the game. So I don't count that particularly. Anyone could have scored that. He did the same thing. I probably would have scored 3 or 4, to be honest. He did the same against Bayern Munich once Messi had already won them the game. I think Suarez was the catalyst for Barcelona's rise last year. And you look back, they weren't doing that well. Suarez ban lifted, Barcelona won the treble. Probably the best team we've ever seen in our lifetimes.
More than 100 goals between the 3 of them.
Although let's make the other case for Manuel Neuer, who we were sort of saying how he hasn't really done that much to deserve it.
Season.
Because he's so imperious and he doesn't have that much to do, and he's so sweeper keeper that the big saves don't come along, and you're kind of is he actually that good? And then last night we saw the best of him, we saw the worst of him.
Yeah.
But the best of him was pretty spectacular.
I think there's only a handful of goalkeepers in the world that are making that save.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know he didn't save it, but from Ozil's as well was still a fantastic save. So both of them were just unbelievable. They were clear-cut open goals, basically. And maybe he is, just that step above everyone else. I'm not sure he is personally.
It's a shame there's not a category for goalkeeper apart from World 11. Because the good thing about the World 11 is there's only one of them. You can play 2 up top. That's what you got 2 best strikers. There's only one best goalkeeper, and it is Neuer.
Yeah.
Just whether he's the 3rd best player in the entire world.
For me,
it's difficult to compare stats.
Yeah, you could bring it down to, say we're picking a team, me and you are captains. Who do you pick first? One's going for Messi, one's going for Ronaldo. In most cases. So who's the 3rd pick? A lot of people would go for Neuer.
Yeah. My
I would
philosophy would be all attack.
I would still go for Suarez though. I would.
Manager, Luis Enrique.
You can't see. Well,
Well, it doesn't
hang on.
look like
We haven't
as
said
well.
who's going to win it yet.
Well, I think Messi.
I think Messi's going to
He
win it
won
as
the
well.
treble. Ronaldo's breaking all stats and records
Yeah.
ever existed in poor Real. You know, Real scored 323 goals in 741 games.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's done it in 5.
Raul's records don't look very good anymore, do they? Which is what's so bad about it.
God has achieved nothing.
But yeah, I think for the same reason, Luis Enrique is the manager,
Yeah.
and it's for the same reason that Messi is that you can't take you can't just look past the treble. The treble is the best thing you can win in football in Europe, and they both won it. And they, you know, how do you look past that really? I don't think you can. So,
Well,
that's the ones.
that was the week that was, and we will see you next week for more.